Welcome to The Source with your host, Dr. C.T. Curry, and co-host Kobe Owens. News all across the nation. The Source. Stay in the loop in the city of Wilmington, Delaware. Work together for change in the community. A call to action to find the resources. The Source, the latest in news.
Good evening, this is Dr. Curry.
This is Kobe Owens.
And welcome to The Source. Kobe, we had a very good week this week in that we didn't have any shootings or murders that occurred that we are well aware of. Mm-hmm. And I'm very grateful for that. And,
yes.
And even though Trump is in Washington basically saying how horrible all the inner cities are, crime is really going down. And no crime is anything that we will accept, but it's really going down. The shootings, the murders are really going down. And I'm very grateful for chief polices across the country, especially in these inner cities, who are doing all they can to curb it. You know, any thoughts on that?
Well, I would say this, right? As you see, and I talked about it at the last show, you see these cities that are majority minority, trending downward in crime, seeming to become targets of the Trump administration. I know we have a new U.S. attorney here who is a two-time failed candidate for statewide office on the GOP side. She ran for attorney general in laws, ran for governor in laws. She was the GOP, the Republican Party chairperson here, and now she's our U.S. attorney. She has asked for the feds to step in and intervene here in Delaware. Now, again, I see this as a political stunt. Right. But again, you see all these cities that are trending downward in the direction that they should be going. And then you're going to see Trump try to step in and say, oh, it was because of him.
Yeah, and then the question, and that's what he's doing in Washington, because it was already on the decline,
right.
And he's basically saying in his 4 days of doing his thing, the crime had been almost zero. But you know what? The former police chief for Washington and for Philadelphia, Ramsey, he said something that I think we really need to take close attention and pay close attention to, and that is, criminals are not stupid. Mm-hmm. If you see a high and strong force of a presence of police, we're going to go hide for a little while.
Right.
So all that presence he have there, do we expect crime? No. But where's the plan to ensure that what we have established, which they have not established anything, but what we have established is going to work? And I think people don't need to be shocked by this. And this man is a showman. He really needs to be on Broadway. When he retired, why don't we give him a show? I think he'll give Denzel Washington a run for his money. And his acting, his ability to act.
Probably, but again, all that's going on is Trump is targeting minorities, and he's trying to federalize the police to be able to go after them, to scare them, so that he can keep power. He understands that he's probably going to lose the House. That's why he's doing everything with Texas. But he's trying to use these techniques in strong Democratic voting areas right now to build a long-term plan on how to suppress the vote as well, too.
Yeah, and it's effective because we're not paying attention. And we cannot allow temporary fixes to be looked at as a permanent solution. And even though it's not even a fix, because I think I'm giving it too much credit when I say a temporary fix, because it's not even a fix, it's not even needed. And then you have a couple people who come on TV, whether it be African American, Latino, or black and brown people, who will say, yes, it's still crime is real high. One murder is one too many. We will admit to that. But for us to make it look like we just out of control, no. We would be a disservice even on this show. We really complained. We really went off on the former mayor for how the crime had risen under his leadership. It was because of his neglect. Now we have a mayor and a chief of police who really is trying to focus in on it and try to solve it. We need to be able to handle these things intelligently.
Oh, absolutely. And I think just one thing, we don't have a new chief of police. We have the same chief of police.
Thank you. Yeah.
He's just been empowered to do things how he understands things need to be done.
And not propaganda.
Not propaganda, but also, again, this is why it's so good that you have someone who comes from the city of Wilmington, right? Everyone knows I've been critical of the police when I need to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I believe when you give someone such great power, you should hold them to a certain standard.
Absolutely.
And I have been critical of different tactics, but I will say this. Our chief of police, Chief Campos here, is from Wilmington. He understands Wilmington, and he has done his best that he possibly could to try to make this work both so everyone gets to go home safely at the end of the day. And I commend him for that, right? In the new techniques and the new strategies he's using, they're solving crimes now, but they're also keeping crime down before it even happens. And that's what true community policing is all about.
Yes, and to hear that coming from don't defund the police, I guess whatever they try to label you as before, is remarkable. Because honestly, this is what you really ask. You're not saying please go hide and let crime go rapid. What you're saying is be a part of our community.
Correct.
I think that's what I'm hearing you say. And saying that on last Wednesday we had the funeral of Brother Amir Clark, whose families are members of this church. I mean, his grandmother, grandfather, and father are active members of our congregation. And they asked that I would do the service, and we had the service here, and I did it. And one of the things it grieves my heart when we see so many young people who are dying, who are succumbing to some of the things that are happening in the streets. And what I did was I took that opportunity, instead of trying to criticize the young people, and it was a lot of young people here. The church was almost full with just young people. And some speakers got up and talked about take those hoods off. Some speakers got up and talked about, when is this going to start? It was just really beating up on them. And the young people want to be talked not so much directly to, but they want to be a part of the conversation. So as I was sitting there preparing myself for the eulogy, the Lord gave me an insight that I shared, and that was, where do we go from here? And I was reminded of, and I shared this with those who were a part of the service, I was reminded of Dr. King when he had been assassinated. And at the Lorraine Hotel, Dr. Lowry and Jesse Jackson and many others who were there, they came out with a question. The question was, where do we go from here? We recognized the racism and what they had assassinated Dr. King, but do we succumb to their craziness, or do we find methods and methodologies to be able to become better? And that's what I tried to do. And I saw, even when I went to the cemetery, some of those young people were saying, Pastor Curry, thank you, because, we need to think about that. Where do we go from here? This happened. Do we look for retaliation and more people get killed, or do we find better solutions? And I believe that it certainly helped some of them. And I did say at the end of my sermon, I'll see y'all at church on Sunday. We'll see how many will show up. But the point is, I don't think criticizing our young people and beating them up, they're in an interesting position. I'm not condoning, don't misunderstand that, but they're in an interesting situation. And many of us who are older, and those generations even above me, did some crazy stuff. When we were younger, we had a different scenario. We didn't have guns then. We had knives, or we had bats and things of that nature. But how do we change the trajectory of our young people so they can start thinking, as opposed to just criticizing them and downing them? And that's where I was. And I think that it turned out pretty good. And I just hope that we would do better.
So I just want to say a few things.
Sure.
And, this younger generation lets me know I'm getting older.
Yeah.
But I'm in the in-between. And I say this all the time when I hear older adults criticize the youth. They're not making the liquor, they're not making the weed, they're not making the guns. They grew up in a system in which we failed, right?
Okay.
The older generations failed them, so now they're doing whatever. I don't know when it happened, but the adults stopped holding the students accountable and started holding the teachers accountable for them cutting up in school. I've had a fight break out in my backyard. I just happen to be home, kids coming home from school. I go back there, I tell yo, y'all got to get out of here, right? They leave. I had a parent come back, knock on my door, and say to me, oh, my son said you yelled at him. And I said, yeah, he was in my backyard. Well, my son could do whatever. In my backyard? On my property? In my gate? No. But see, the mindset was, you can't tell my kid what to do.
Yeah.
Your kid was wrong. Your kids should have had respect not to go on someone's property. Kids should have been fighting. And then you should have held your own kid accountable. That's what's wrong. We have lost a generation of parenting.
Yes.
Maybe even
I'm
two
with you.
generations
I'm gonna agree with you on
of
that
parenting.
I'm agree with you on that
And it has gotten to this point that now you have adults who are buying the guns, but kids who are shooting.
Didn't think of it
That
way.
is the issue that we're dealing with in Wilmington right now. It's an issue they're dealing with in Philly and Dover and all over, right? Everyone wants to place the blame on the lower level. We got to start at the top. And we as a society, we have to change our mentality when it comes to things like that. Now, am I saying over police our community? No. Am I saying beat your child up? No. But I'm saying, I'm saying stop trying to be your child's friend.
And be their parent.
Be their parent.
I hope there's a turn in the mentality of us so that we can do better and be better, you know. So that's just how it is. But I want to turn your attention, and I'm grateful for those who decided this week to hold their anger, and for the police department who has been doing what they need to do where we didn't have any shootings this week, and I'm very grateful for that. Hope we can report the same thing next week.
Yes.
I want to turn our attention real quickly to some of the things that are going on in the nation, and I'm bringing this in my side of the house today, and that's Governor Newsom, who is really trolling Trump, and you crazy people in the Democratic Party get on my nerve. It's really interesting. I'm not even gonna blame liberals for that. Liberals for this part of it. So that's not really your group, but it's that those conservative, I guess, is my group, who are progressive, rather, who are saying that he's wrong. He's out of control. He's trolling Trump, who's running roughshod over all of us, who's doing whatever heck he want to do. And they're saying because when he said, Russia, if you're listening, drop those files, I don't know what I was doing, but I just stopped and just started laughing and thought it was excellent marketing skills. But do you feel that maybe he's doing too much?
I mean, there's a fine line on some things,
Okay.
right, that I don't think, we should joke about or we should dilute, right, even though Trump is making a mockery of it. Now, the Epstein's files, that was hilarious. And Russia has been known to hack us multiple times and release information. But, Trump is probably paying Putin not to release that information. Overall, I think you bring this up, and I talked to a lot of the Democratic Party leaders. I'm actually going to be out there all next week in Minnesota for our first DNC meeting under this new leadership. And one of the more conservative, old school Democratic Party strategists and leaders, he's the chair of the New Hampshire Dems, said to me on a call literally last night, said, Kobe, I don't think any Democratic president can ever say, I can't do that any longer. And it made me stop because he was the one who was very anti-expanding the Supreme Court, anti-getting rid of the filibuster. He was like, it's rule of law, and we have to keep the filibuster because it's always been a tradition, a very traditionalist. Now saying, well, Trump just got in and said, all right, well, if it's not a law and I don't need to change it, out with it. Trump has now turned the Rose Garden into a Panera patio. Yeah. He has picked gold-plated everything in the White House. Yeah. So I think people are starting to realize that now. But there's still a lot of people who believe in the old way of, it's a moderate way to do something. Both sides can still work together. Listen, bipartisanship died.
Oh, yeah.
Not because of the Democratic Party, not because of the Progressive Party. It died because a black man was elected president of the United States of America, and racism came back full force, tenfold, in the Republican Party, in the Tea Party. They wanted to see a black man fail. They tried to get him on every scandal. They are so delusional that it's okay for a white man to have 3 different wives, 2 different baby mamas, or 3 baby mamas?
No,
I
3
forget.
baby mamas
3
for
baby
5
mamas,
children.
5 children,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
34 felonies, 2 times impeached.
Yeah.
It's okay for him to do everything, but let Obama wear a tan suit. He was the worst president on the face of the planet
Yeah.
because he wore a tan suit. It's the same people and the same narrative, and they're so upset. They're so upset about things like that. So again, I think we have to really match energy sometimes,
Right.
but other times it's still some things that you just shouldn't joke about.
Until Trump gets out of the White House. Let it be
Yes.
said that Pastor Curry said this, until he gets out of the White House, there are no rules. I think that if the Democrats are not fighting, I'm going to be complaining. Because this man does not have, even we're going to talk about the prison situation, not a prison, but when he's holding our immigrants, and they're humans, but how he's treating them. He does not care. He's an angry man who felt he has been mistreated. He don't even feel he was mistreated because he knew he did all the stuff that they accused him of, and he knows he's well aware of the fact that he's been impeached 2 times of something he really did do. So he's just angry, and he's just whatever you want to do with John F. K is doing with the health department destroying our health. He could care less. There is no rules. Anybody who wants to fight, I'm with them this time. I'm with them because I'm going to say God is calling them to be the voice, to do some of the things that needs to be done. But this is just crazy. And when I heard some of the Democrats talking about, well, he shouldn't be doing this, and I said, I turned off the TV. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to hear anybody. I think Newsom and whoever else want to stand up to Trump and give an alternative. I'm with them because this is a disgrace how he's treating people. And wait until Medicaid start affecting people. People going to see he's not their friend.
Right.
And these Republicans have done some stuff that is going to be long-term damage, and it's going to take a long time to fix it. So I'm with them. The next thing I want to grab, because I know we're running out of time in my space, is the overturn of Trump's fraud. Not overturning, but the judge felt it was excessive. For his fraud charges in New York, $500 million, I think it was. You know anything about it?
Yeah, so earlier this week, a New York Court of Appeals overturned a $500 million civil fraud penalty that was placed against Donald Trump. They didn't overturn the charges. They just said the $500 million, $500 million was a little excessive. So I don't know if they're going to place a new price tag on it or not. But as of right now, that has been overturned. So he doesn't have to pay that much money back.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how much he got to pay.
No.
And he's not really trolling that too much or saying how much he won, although he's going after James really strong. And that last name James.
Tish James, the Attorney General of New York, because she's the one who prosecuted that case. I believe the initial amount of money that was owed through the business fraud was $315 million, but they went for the $500 million. I think if a judge is saying that's excessive, they may take it back down to the $315.
Okay. Yeah. Now, do you think it's fair the way he's going after her and his U.S. Attorney General? How they all are really going after. At one point, he had on a beige coat, sticking a beige in front of her house, trying to take pictures.
Yeah. So, I think it's fair? No, but I think she can handle it.
Okay. That's really
and I think she has the support around her as well too. Regardless of what's going on in the New York government, they're all behind her. But again, she's not the only AG they're going after. They're going after Democratic AGs across the nation.
Okay, good. What about Trump? The federal judge saying to Trump that your alligator
Alcatraz.
You want to call it Alcatraz or alligator trash is illegal, and you have to stop it immediately.
Yeah. So in Florida, a state-funded prison was built called Alligator Alcatraz to be an immigration detention facility. On the first day, it flooded out. It has been known to flood out. They keep 32 people in cages. The cages, I believe, are 4 foot by 4 foot. It is a horrible, inhumane holding facility, and I'm glad.
It can't be 4 by 4 and got 32 people in it.
They squeeze them in.
Oh, Jesus.
They squeeze them in. And they have pregnant women in there. They have children in there. Again, regardless of how you feel, we should not be doing something so inhumane. And I'm glad a federal judge stepped in and indefinitely held that they can no longer bring new detainees in and that they cannot keep it open. So no new construction, no nothing. And they have to, the people who are already in there have to be let out.
Well, and the good thing about it is, even though it was a technicality, they didn't do it really for the humane purposes. Although, that's enough to do it, but they did it on the technicality of it, that it was not
Endangered in the Everglades.
Right, and that's what they did that on. So I don't want anybody to get that confused. But at the end of the day, God has other ways to handle certain things. The last thing I do want to share as we ready to close out this segment is that on this last Thursday, Isaiah Fair had the great opportunity to have some folks from the Federal Home Loan Bank, as well as Congresswoman McBride and many, many others. There were so many people there. I was very grateful. And you even showed up to that too, and I appreciate that too. We had our presentation of the $700,000 they gave us towards this home that these houses that we built for seniors. And one of the things I tried to make sure is clear, and it will stay clear, is that we wanted to do true affordable housing. And you had an opportunity to see, how did you like the house?
It was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing. Now, I can't wait until the elevators are done, because I definitely, I was telling Sean while we were over there, I was like, I want to take a ride on the elevators, the Cadillac elevators.
Yes.
But it's absolutely amazing. And I really love the future, the AC units in there as well too, so that you can control both the living room, kitchen area, but then also your bedroom can be a different temperature as well too. That is so important for a lot of seniors as well too, that I've been learning about. So I'm glad that y'all were able to incorporate that.
And the door sizes are larger, but the elevator, guess what? I had brothers like you, football players in mind. When we did those elevators, we have it where they can use it to move stuff with.
Oh, wow, okay.
And you talk about it's a nice size elevator, so we won't be looking for a cramped situation where person fill up for 3 or 4 people can go in there together. Good. And that's why they call it a Cadillac elevator. And most rich people who have houses get those type of elevators, and we didn't want to spare any money. We wanted to make sure that our seniors know we love them, and even though we're not looking for none of the richer seniors who got big money, who got the Medicaid, not the Medicaid, the retirement and the Social Security and all of the stuff, if whatever their income is, that's what we're going to base our rent on, and we're hoping that we will be able to make some dent in our and in the quality of life of those seniors who are in our city and our state of Delaware, because it's kind of open to the state, but we're looking to do. I hope we can get a lot of our people, because there's going to be a lot of it. I can't really say who's going to get them, but we know who's going to qualify, and that is the poorest of the poor. Yes. And we're going to make sure that is not overlooked.
And I just want to bring one thing up, because it's me. You talked about the price tag on this, right? So it was a little about $400,000 per structure.
Yeah, 450 plus.
450 plus per structure. 2 units in each structure, 10 units altogether. I want to point out that in the same city, you have the land bank and you have the Delaware, quote unquote, Affordable Housing Development Group doing development, saying that it's costing a lot more than that to build single unit homes, and then selling them, especially like the ones in my district, for $329,000. And saying that's affordable.
That's not affordable.
It's not affordable whatsoever. And I thank you for doing this the way you're doing it, because that truly gets to the root cause of what is causing this housing crisis. Everyone's trying to make a profit.
That's right, yeah.
If you want to make a profit, go into regular development. If you're doing affordable housing, you're not in it for the profit.
And when I shared with even the Congresswoman McBride, and you were there on the tour that I gave, and I shared how the riverfront is where the big bucks are. And when you start talking about the medium income in Southbridge is $68,000, that's not true.
Yeah.
But when you look at how poor some of the people are, and those who are making those big $100,000, $200,000 jobs, it brings it to 68, and then that means you can rent at a certain level. No one would be able to afford these apartments if I was to use the medium income of Southbridge.
Right.
But because we decided none of those rules, you give me 33%. If you meet the criteria of being in poverty, you give us 33%, then you can live good. And let me tell you something, Kobe, we didn't spare anything. And that's why I wanted the tour. I wanted them to see they're not going to be living in a crummy place. We got hard floors. We made sure of that. And you know what I've discovered? I didn't know it. I always got a joke. I didn't know they had dishwashers in there. I didn't know that. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, dishwasher. I don't have a dishwasher. But I'm so happy that our seniors, those who go get those 10 years, are going to live a quality life. A fenced-in backyard. When I say fenced-in, I mean gated. And it's going to be something beautiful. And I'm looking forward to the final product. And we're going to do a tour, and we're going to give everybody an opportunity. For those of you who are watching, I know we're running out of time on my side. We will be letting you know when we're going to do this application process, and we're going to be having technical assistance. So for those of you who may not be able to go online and fill out an application, we're going to have some days you can come right here to the campus, and we're going to help you fill the applications out. When we do our drawing, we're going to try to do a live drawing so that we can show the integrity of the whole thing. I really want to show, Kobe, that we can help poor people. We can help, and no disrespect when I say poor people, people who do not have the means that other people have. When we did this child care center, we consider ourselves to have one of the best daycare facilities in this state, and we are 5-star. But we make sure our rates are very low, and 85% of our children must be on purchase of care, because I want to give those children the same opportunities those parents who may have big money have. So I'm hopeful that this will be another example y'all can use. Like if they can do it over there at East Zion, we can do it with the Land Bank. We can do it with other places, because honestly, it's not always about making money. It's about helping people.
Absolutely.
Humanity is what's missing. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. And we're back. Well, Kobe, what's going on with the Kobe Corner?
Yeah, so first I want to talk about the Texas Democrats.
Yes.
So a few weeks ago, you heard that the president and the governor of Texas were going to redo maps. Then they came out with their maps where they took away 5 Democratic seats, created super majorities for super packed minority districts to dilute the minority voice in Texas, which has the largest population of black people in it, and the largest population of Hispanics in it as well too. The Democrats fled the state to break quorum. They went to New York, Illinois, California, and then they came back. Now, once they came back, they were forced to sign a waiver stating that if they leave the state again before the start of session, that they would have to give up their seats, because the Attorney General have filed the paperwork to remove them from office. All but one Democrat decided to sign that, and that is State Rep Nicole Coyler, who's a black woman, who said, "Fine, I'm not signing it." And they said, "Well, if you don't sign this, you're not allowed to leave the chamber." And once everyone left, they had the sergeant at arms, the security, keep her in the chambers and then lock the doors on her. So she was talking. It went viral. People started paying attention to it. She got a phone call from the former Vice President Harris. But then she was on a video call with Kim Martin, who's the chair of the DNC, talking to her about what's going on. Not fundraising, but just talking to her about what's going on, amplifying what's going on. And they came back and said, warned her that she's committing a felony because you're not allowed to talk elections, even though they weren't talking about election, while in the bathroom or on the floor. So again, she had to get off that call. Again, they only allow her to go to the bathroom now. Only allow her to go to the bathroom now. For the first 2 days, they kept her locked in the chambers. Now, where she went to the bathroom, I have no clue.
I knew where I would have went.
Right on that speaker's desk. But she has served in the Texas legislature for 14 years. She's a former Black Caucus chair down there, and she is holding her ground against Speaker Burrows and the actions that he's taken against her. So again, I just wanted to lift that up. They are redrawing these maps. They are pushing through their maps to eliminate 5 Democratic seats California, in turn, has decided to do the same and eliminate 5 Republican seats in California. It will be going to a ballot measure this November.
Do you think the Democrats will go for it?
It's going to come down to the independents, to be honest. But overall, there's going to be hundreds of $millions spent in California over the next few months leading up to this ballot measure. New York is looking at redrawing their maps. And you also have some other states that may be taking a look at it. Maryland may be one of them. Michigan may be another. So we will see what happens. But right now, this is not what democracy should be. And for years, there has been this notion of we should have independent redistricting. But then we only had it in blue states. So it pigeonholed some people. Colorado is another place that not only do they have to have independent redistricting, but when there's a new district added, it has to be even.
Colorado's a Democratic state.
It is. Yeah. But someone redrew their map, just looking at the numbers in the election districts, and they have 9 seats and redrew all 9 to be Democratic, right? Right now, the split is 5-4. So again, looking at these maps and looking at what's going on, if Trump wants to play this game of trying to steal this election yet again, others can match his energy.
But don't you think that the Republicans will have more power if everybody decide to go ahead and do that? Because of the amount of states that are red, they would probably still have more than Democrats if everybody decided to join this party?
No. So if you look at it, the states that they control are smaller states that have 1 or a few seats, right? Okay. If you look at the ones that are Republican controlled but have Democratic seats, where they could eliminate, South Carolina could eliminate 1. Mississippi can eliminate 1. Alabama 2, Louisiana 2, and that's about it. Kansas 1, Missouri 1, 1. So it's Pennsylvania isn't a Republican-controlled state, so they have a Democratic governor and a Democratic House.
See, that's what I didn't know. I thought, okay, my bad. They have a Republican Senate, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Which I'm beefing with them right now.
I know, because of the separatism.
So in total, we could lose potentially 9 seats, right? You look at New York, they can eliminate 3. You look at Wisconsin, they can eliminate 4. 4 Republican seats. So already you're back to what? 6-7 seats. Illinois can eliminate 2, 9. Colorado can eliminate almost 4, definitely 3. Now the only other state that could potentially eliminate multiple seats would be Florida, but it's already so gerrymandered down there that it would be very hard for them to eliminate more than 1 or 2 Democratic seats. So,
but how do we know that, like with Texas? I'm agreeing with Newsom with doing a 5 because, if Trump is going to midstream this, let him do it too, so we can balance it out. I'm for that. But how do we know that Trump will get? Because I heard it's going to be more Latino.
There's more. So in certain areas, they made them more Latino population, but it's less black. So in a district that may have had like 47% black and 34% Hispanic, they now took all those Hispanic votes from the neighboring district and put them in there. So now it's more like 60% Hispanic, 32% black. And took the white conservative votes and put them in the next district and crisscrossed it all up. And the maps, they're just horrible. They're just horrible.
That's crazy.
So again, that's where we're at with our democracy right now. And this upcoming midterm election is going to be critical, but 2028 is really going to determine if this nation fails or if this nation goes forward. So again, y'all know we're going to keep talking about it. But again, leading up to the 2026 election, I think with everything, I think the House is still going to flip, even with all this redistricting happening. I think Democrats are going to take the House. It's just by how many seats.
Do you think he'll get impeached again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Going on to my next point, school board districts are splitting the rates. So Red Clay School Board approved a tax split for residential and non-residential in the district. The property reassessment values have really upset a lot of residents, right? And the General Assembly went into session. Wilmington can already do split rates, and I believe Dover or Newark, one of them, also have the ability to do split rates as well too. But we were the only two that were able to do that. Now they allow the school districts to do it as well too, in the counties as well too. So in Red Clay, the tax burden had jumped for the average person about 8.7%. Wow. With the reassessment, and then also the reassessment, the referendum, and then again with them setting their tax rate at what they did. So school districts had, they could set the tax rate up to 10% after the reassessment. Now, Red Clay had agreed to drop to 1% increase that had approved across the board, but still residential was feeling it a lot more. So now that they split the rate, now everyone will feel a little bit of relief in the Red Clay School District. But again, commercial properties still aren't paying their fair share. And of the commercial properties, the ones that are going to be hit the hardest are, of course, the mom and pop small businesses. The corporations, the banks, they are getting off scot-free.
Wow.
And then lastly, I just wanted to talk about new legislation that's being introduced on all levels. Newcastle County has 3 members of county council who have called for an audit of the reassessment. And I feel like I've been talking about property taxes for the last month and a half, because I probably have. I've been on calls until 10 at night talking with different legislators from all different levels of government about what is going on with property taxes. Tyler Technology did a horrible job, not only in the city of Wilmington. We flagged this back in February, but we are starting to realize all across Newcastle County, they did a horrible job, especially when it comes to the evaluation of minority properties and the under-evaluation of commercial properties, which has led to more of a burden being placed on the residents. So again, there's legislation being introduced to call for audits of the tax assessment by Newcastle County members. They still have to get to at least 7 votes to initiate that process. If we were to do a new tax reassessment, that would cost anywhere from about $23 million for Newcastle County. If it's the whole county, the city of Wilmington would be a lot cheaper. But again, we have to figure out where we're going to get that money from if we wanted to go down that route. And from my understanding right now, the mayor in the county exec, neither one of them want to go down that route right now. Also, I'm introducing legislation for city residential property owners will not, that it will be a moratorium on foreclosures for unpaid tax bills because of the reassessment. This, again, is just giving a little more relief for the residents who got hit with this bill in July, saying you have until September 30th to pay. Right. Usually it's September 1st, but Mayor Carney and his administration has moved that date to the end of September. Again, it's still a huge burden on a lot of people who are not still paying a mortgage, right? So if you're paying your mortgage, your taxes are broken down into a monthly 12-month plan, right? And come out of your escrow that you're paying into. If you're not, if you paid off your house, you have to pay that huge lump sum right then and there. It's it's not a fair system whatsoever. So again, this bill is to protect our seniors from losing their property, whether they have the senior tax help already. I still don't want to see them out their homes. And then other people, if you have worked hard to own your home in the city of Wilmington, you should not lose it because of Tyler Technologies' extreme mess up with our tax reassessment. So again, I just want to make sure that we're doing everything to protect our valuable citizens here in the city of Wilmington. And will I have the votes on this? I have no clue. But I'm putting it forward. I'm going to fight for it, and hopefully the rest of the council joins in and wanted to protect the residents, not the businesses, the residents who we're supposed to be in paying attention to and protecting, protect them from losing their homes.
Yeah, most of the people that you will be concerned with are those individuals who are in the pockets of people who are business owners. So we'll need to watch that very carefully. And I think the day is over for us having to beg people to vote to help.
Yeah.
People who need help. This is not a hard pill. They made a mistake with hiring this group. It wasn't the city council who hired this group.
County council.
County council.
County
Okay.
council in Newcastle County. Yeah.
Okay, so I just think right now we need to watch it and we need to bring that up.
Yeah.
As the vote gets closer, we need to make sure that we have people present to be able to hear it and respond to it and things of that nature, because I think that's important.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And as we go forward with more things as well too, I will definitely be keeping you updated on the legislative legislative process of this as well too. There's other legislation that's going to be coming down the pipeline as well too, including city council taking a vote to support Newcastle County's call for a audit of the properties that Tyler Technology audited, but then also looking forward to really just rolling up our sleeves as we come back from our legislative break, our summer break, and getting legislation that really focuses in on helping residents here in the city of Wilmington. And while I'm doing a moratorium on losing your house, I'm also doing legislation that creates opportunity for individuals to become homeowners here. And it's called the Anchor Program. And the Anchor Program is a housing assistance, down payment and closing cost assistance program for anyone who works in a city public school. So it has to be inside the city. I have 2 schools in my district, both PS and Harlan, and the Brandywine School District, but I represent 3 different school districts. It's crazy in that little district that I represent. I have, 4 if you count the VOTEC as well too. But if you work in one of those schools and you want to live in the city of Wilmington, you will get a additional $15,000 in down payment assistance. That's stackable. It's a 10-year forgivable loan. So after 10 years of living in your house, it's completely forgiven. If you leave before then of course they'll calculate how much you owe back to the city. And it's for everyone except for admin, right? Because admin make more money. Whether you're an educator, paraprofessional, nurse, janitorial staff, lunchroom staff, if you are helping.
You mean executive?
Yeah,
I guess
like,
because I know.
I'm sorry, like principal.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But if you're like a
Secretary.
secretary or something like that, you still qualify.
Okay.
You will be able to live in the city of Wilmington, right? So it's a few different things. One, it's an education bill. 2, it's an environmental bill. If you're able to, you're spending less time on getting gas and putting pollution into the air, but then also you're helping stabilize, you're helping anchoring neighborhoods, right? You're more likely to care about the kids that you're teaching or you're working with if you live in the same neighborhood, if you get to know them. It brings back that sense of community as well too. So again, it's considered workforce housing, but this is just the start of it. We're looking to really dive into how do we get more people into homes. So those are my 2 big pieces of legislation that I'm working on right now. And as we go forward, hopefully I'll be bringing more.
Yeah, and you will be bringing more, just keep them meaningful so that we
Yes.
can stay on top of that. Kobe, how y'all on break? I know many of your
We just came back on Thursday.
so people are back.
Yes.
Did y'all didn't have a meeting on Thursday, right?
We did. It was nothing but first and seconds, and a few presentations. I think we had
Was all the council back?
not all of them. Some of them playing their vacations right
Oh.
at the end of our summer vacation, where we had a month of no meetings and everything.
Okay.
But some people wanted to go other places after that. But we were
Okay.
I'll say this: all the rookies were in the chamber
And
yet
all
again. But some of the senior legislators joined us as well too in the chamber, and then of course Council President Congo was presiding.
Yeah, well, you got to stop calling them senior legislators if that's not their title. So you fit right in. Trump say you say something long enough, people start believing it, and it becomes a
Very
reality.
true.
So there are council members who have been around for a while that did come back. I'm not going to be negative. I'm just going to stay positive. Very good. I'm glad that you had you had a good report today. Other than this whole thing with this redistricting, it's just staying in my spirit, and it's really bad. That we are in a place. I heard one writer in the New York Times, I believe it was, or the Wall Street Journal, that's where it was, where it talks about, because you had started to say it and you didn't go all the way into it, how we don't really have where people are not just being partisan. See, when they start messing with gerrymandering, what happened is everything was about strict conservative in this district or whatever, and now they're just either Republicans or you either Democrat. There's no more mixture where, independents are still here, but it's no real mixture where I gotta go with the Democrats on this one because my base or the people who are in my district are some Democrats and they can cause me to lose my election. It's now like if the Republicans say vote this way, you vote that way because it's all your group. We don't really have any kind of compromising going on right now, and it's really sad, and it's getting worse. And like you said, it's all because we had a black president. We're gonna make sure this never happen again, but they don't know. I was hoping Trump would run because then Barack could run again.
I know that's right, but he's scared of Barack.
Yeah, and he talks about Biden like a dog, but he doesn't talk too much about Barack.
Because he knows.
He may catch him on the corner. But they both got presidential immunity, so
Right.
Okay, let me just stop. All right, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be right back. And we're back. Kobe, there's two things I want to do in this last segment, and then I want to end with a comment that we are doing here at East Zion Fair. First, I want to talk a little bit about your feeling on the House and the Senate. And in that, I want to talk about who do I feel is going to be the leader of the Democratic Party. And then I want to talk a little bit about the big, beautiful bill. I want to talk about why they're not really pushing it like they should have been doing during this break. And then I'll end it. So let's start with the House and the Senate. Do you feel comfortable still? You start saying you feel a little bit comfortable with the Senate, but let's start with the House.
Yeah,
What is your feeling?
I think even with all this redistricting, the House is going to flip. You have people who are just fed up with how things are going, and they're scared about how they're going to be impacted. And even though some of the implementation starts after the midterms, people still know it's coming, right? So they want someone to get in there and figure out how to fix it before it hits them, right?
Can that happen?
Probably not, because you would need both the House, the Senate, and the President to be all on the same page, unless they have enough votes to override a veto, which they will not. Even if the House may, the Senate, it's no way they get to the 60 senators they need to override. Unless you have some Republicans who flip as well too. Ooh, we saw this election, we want to save our seat. But as of right now, no, it would fail in the Senate no matter what.
All right, and I asked that because that's one of the things people do. But I think most of all, they want to hold him accountable and stop the bleeding.
Absolutely. And another sign that the House is in danger is the retirement level, right? So each cycle you have people who retire. But as of right now, usually the House that has more people retiring, the side of the caucus that has more people retiring usually means they know that it's going to be a bad election cycle for their party. So right now, the Republicans have 7 more individuals who are retiring, flat out retiring, than the Republicans. Or than the Democrats, sorry.
I know what you're saying. And so you your confidence level, you're about 70% assured that that the House will flip.
Yeah.
Now, where are you with the Senate?
Senate, I'm more like 55% sure it's going to flip. There has been some really good movement. I talked about Roy Cooper announcing that he's running for the Senate in North Carolina, that put that in play. Also, I've talked about the former Senator Sherrod Brown from Ohio now running as well too. That puts Ohio back in play against the person.
He lost. Right?
He lost in 24
Because of
Elon Musk. Elon Musk is not in the picture any longer. He's very well liked in his state. And again, he's running against someone who was appointed, not elected. He was appointed to replace J.D. Vance. So,
run against Vance?
who?
What seat did Roy lose?
Sherrod Brown lost his Senate seat.
To who?
To, that's a very good question. I forget.
Okay, I a little too technical, but okay.
Yeah, so he lost his Senate seat in 24. J.D. Vance won his Senate seat in 22.
Okay, I got you.
So he still had 4 years left. He has 2 years left now. But because he became vice president, the governor appointed his lieutenant governor to J.D. Vance's Senate seat. So that's why this seat is up this year, not during its regular time, because it's a special election. So again, Sherrod Brown had already been elected 3 times. He got elected for the first time in 2007, and he lost to, I don't know why I forgot the name, Bernie Moreno, who's a Marine vet. I should have remembered that because I'm a big Bernie supporter, the other Bernie. There's 2 Bernies in the Senate now. Right. So that puts Ohio in play. Maine, a clam oyster farmer is now running, who's also a military vet, is running against Susan Collins. He has come out the gate firing, talking about just Maine issues, and he has raised $3.4 million from Maine in 24 hours.
Now, she's an independent, isn't she?
No, she tries to act like one, but she's a Republican. So that makes that race a lot tougher for her.
Governor in Maine as well.
She's a Democrat, but she hasn't announced if she wanted to run or not.
Right, but I'm looking at dynamics. When you're telling me your percentage, I'm trying to say, okay, if you got a Democratic governor and you got a Republican senator and you got a Democrat that's strong running, I think the chances are much stronger.
And both the House seats up there are Democratic as well too. Okay. And the other senator is an independent, but he caucuses with the Democrats, August King. So with all those in play, you are able to get to 50, right? So then you look at the other states. So Iowa, Florida, Texas are the next ones that are in play as well too, and Alaska. I think Alaska probably has the best chance if Mary Petrola, the former congresswoman, if she decides to make a return and come back and run there. Texas is probably the next after that, and then Iowa. Iowa, again, is a very agriculture-based state, and Joni Ernst, who voted against the farmers there, have really pissed off that industry there. So that may be enough to flip Iowa as well too. We shall see. But yeah, the Senate could be could flip.
Who do you think is going to be the Democrat? Right now, we know we've got a long way to go. Who do you think is going to be the Democratic leader for the Democratic Party?
In the Senate?
No. Well, we already kind of can guess that.
So Dick Durbin is retiring, right? And he's the whip. Chuck Schumer has been the leader for a very long time, since 2012, I believe. Brian Schatz from Hawaii has locked up the support to become the new whip. But to be honest, I think people will, if Democrats don't win the Senate, they will want to move away from Chuck Schumer. If they do win, Chuck Schumer has 2 more years, but that's it. He probably will retire instead of seeking re-election, because I don't see him getting re-elected after 2028 as leader of the Democratic caucus in the Senate.
What about presidential?
Presidential, I think as of right now, the front runners are both from California, with the former Vice President Harris and Governor Newsom being the 2 front runners, but also growing in his popularity. And again, he starts at a lower name recognition because of the state he's from, is Governor Brashear from Kentucky. Someone who is building inroads, taking the time to meet with people, but then also taking the necessary time to meet with minority communities as well too. Gavin Newsom has a very diverse state, but he hasn't taken that time to really meet with the minority communities.
Got you. And before I go to my last statement, why isn't the Congress out pushing the BBB?
The big, ugly, beautiful bill. They know that it is very unpopular what they did, the Republicans in Congress. They are trying their best not to talk about it, and when they do talk about it, they get booed. Their press conferences get shut down, their town halls get shut down. And it's funny because they say, oh, well, it was the Democrats in the room. No, you're in the most conservative county. These are people who have voted for you numerous times, people who you have multiple pictures with, who are upset, visibly upset, talking to the media about how they're upset with your vote on this bill. This bill is an inhumane bill that, again, did nothing but create more opportunity for the ultra wealthy to make more money and save money on their taxes as well.
One more question. Do you think that that Russia really do have something on Trump to a place where he can't support Ukraine the way he needs to because it may destroy his presidency?
I wouldn't be shocked. I think Trump is in financial issue. He's lied about how much money he actually truly has, and he is probably tied in somewhere with some Russian oligarch that has been funding him for a long time.
Last but certainly not least, I want to thank everybody who continue to watch us. We're doing something new at East Zion Fair Christian Community Academy, and I want to bring this to your attention. For those of you who may own daycares, we know at the end of the school year in June, teachers are off for the summer, and they are paid because their salary spreads out throughout the year. What we decided to do, we're really interested in mental health. I believe that everybody should have a break. Now, here at East Zion Fair Christian Community Academy, we do give our teachers who've been with us for 1 year a week-long vacation. They can take it whenever they want to. But what we decided to do was to shut the whole business down, shut the whole operation down. Some parents were not happy about it, but they understood. We decided to give what we call a mental week, where our teachers and those who are part of the school system here at East Zion Fair Christian Academy, we decided to give them a mental week paid vacation where we're going to just close the campus down. We're going to re-clean everything and re-get ourselves ready. This is costing us a lot of money, but you know what I discovered? When you have healthy people handling children, we end up having healthy children. We know every center cannot afford to do that. We know that, but I think we need to start talking to the state about something like this, where we really just take some time to give daycare teachers some free time off. When they can just do what they want to do for a week. We can't do like the school system and do a whole month because people have to go to work and they have to have child care. But what I wanted to make sure is that we start setting some precedents that are healthy. Mental health matters. A lot of teachers are burnt out. Matter of fact, most teachers are burnt out. Not because they so desire to be, but because it takes a lot to handle children, young people. And we decided, I don't care, it's going to cost a lot of money. At some point, I want to have a conversation with the governor. I want to have a conversation with the mayor, or with the mayors and the county exec, to just talk about how can we find some funds to fund child care centers, to give their staff who work all year long. Some daycares don't even get a week's vacation. That is paid. I think this is how we really turn the trajectory and put love of learning back into the school system. Kobe, I know you are on the board at one of our centers, and I'm not really asking for any opinion on that, but I just wanted to make sure I shared that today because we've been planning it, and we go ahead and institute. It was kind of hard a little bit because some parents are like, well, I got to still go to work. And I share with them, I understand that we need you to find some way to survive that 1 week. And when they come back, I'm believing my teachers are going to be very fresh and ready to move on for another school year.
And sometimes all you need is a few days.
Yeah.
All you need is a few days. So, yeah, I commend you for doing that. And this is something I'll be talking about with my team as well, too.
Yeah. All right, well, that's our show today, and I hope that you enjoyed it, and we're going to see you next week. And until the next time, God bless.
Take care, y'all.
You've been watching The Source with host Dr. C.T. Curry and co-host Kobe Owens. Tune in every Sunday at 5 p.m. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes.